I used to think my life was simple. I told Emily that all the time. I don't need much, I said. Just you, work, and peace. She laughed and replied, that's why I love you. I worked regular hours, came home on time, and believed loyalty was the strongest promise a person could make. The night I proposed, my hand shook. Emily Carter, I said, forcing a smile. Will you marry me? She covered her mouth, cried, and whispered, yes. I slipped the ring on her finger, and she hugged me hard. We are forever now, she said. I believed her without doubt. Later that night, we lay on the floor talking about our future. Small wedding, she said. Just close people. I nodded. A quiet house, I added. No secrets. She smiled and said, always honest. I remember thinking love didn't need anything else. Mark Lewis congratulated me the next day. You did it, man, he said, punching my shoulder. I'm proud of you. I laughed. I couldn't have done it without you. He had been my friend since childhood, the brother I chose. When he said, I've got your back, I never questioned it. Emily's best friend Sarah was there too. She looked at the ring and said softly, it's beautiful. Her smile was polite, but her eyes lingered on Emily's face. I asked, what do you think? Sarah replied, I hope you're both happy. Her voice sounded careful, but I ignored that. I wore my engagement ring everywhere. At work, I showed it off. I'm getting married, I told Jason from accounting. He said, you look like you won the lottery. I felt the same way. Every time the metal touched my skin, I felt chosen. But small things started to bother me. Why didn't you answer my call? I asked Emily one night. She shrugged. Phone was on silent. Another time I said, you seem distant. She replied, you're overthinking. Mark missed our weekly hangouts. Busy, he texted. Rain check. Sarah once asked me, are you happy? I said, I've never been happier. She nodded slowly and said nothing else. That silence stayed with me longer than her words. Late at night, Emily would turn away in bed. Everything okay? I asked. She answered, just tired. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. Doubt felt like betrayal, and I refused to betray love. I told myself, good things don't fall apart. I looked at the ring and thought, this is proof. This is safety. I didn't know I was holding the last calm moment of my life. My mornings followed rules. I said, coffee at 7, gym at 8. Emily joked, you love schedules more than surprises. I smiled and answered, stability is love. She kissed my cheek and said, then I'm safe with you. Hearing that made me stand taller. We should open a joint account, Emily said one evening. For the wedding. I replied, whatever you want. Mark laughed nearby and said, man, you trust too easily. I shrugged. If I don't trust her, why marry her? Mark went quiet after that. One night Sarah pulled me aside. You're a good man, she said. I laughed. I'm just normal. She hesitated, then replied, just don't disappear into love. I asked, what does that mean? She shook her head. Nothing. Forget it. I did. Emily stopped sharing her phone screen. I noticed and asked, privacy now? She replied fast, you're being weird. I apologized. I didn't mean it like that. She softened. I know. But her smile didn't reach her eyes, and I blamed myself. Before sleep, I touched the ring and whispered, we are solid. Emily murmured, of course. I told myself love needed faith, not fear. I chose faith every time. I didn't know faith could blind a man as easily as hate. If someone had warned me then, I would have laughed. We are engaged, I'd say. This is real. I thought certainty was strength. I didn't understand that certainty, without honesty, is just a quiet lie waiting to speak. I smiled, believed, and walked forward, proud, unaware, carrying trust like armor already cracked by promises I never questioned or checked carefully. I went to Emily's apartment with food in my hands and hope in my chest. She'll smile, I told myself. She'll say I should have called. I laughed quietly in the hallway and said, Surprise. I raised my hand to knock, then froze. I heard laughter. Not hers alone. A man laughed and said, "You're impossible." My heart dropped because I knew that voice. "Mark." I whispered. My fingers went cold. I told myself, "Don't jump to conclusions." I turned the handle. Emily looked up and said my name like it burned her mouth. Mark stood beside her, shirt half buttoned, eyes wide, silent. The room spun. "What is this?" I asked. My voice didn't sound like mine. Emily rushed forward. "Please listen," she said. "It's not what you think." I laughed once. "Then tell me what I'm seeing." Mark stayed quiet. I looked at him and said, "Say something." He swallowed and looked away. "I didn't plan this," Emily said. "It just happened." I felt my chest tighten. "You just happened?" I asked. "With him?" She cried. I was confused. I shook my head slowly. "I trusted you." I turned to Mark. "I trusted you like blood." Mark finally spoke. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I smiled without humor. "That's funny," I said. "Because you did." My hands shook. I shoved them into my pockets so no one would see. Emily reached for me. "Don't leave," she said. I stepped back. "I don't belong here," I replied. She begged, "We can talk." I answered, "There's nothing left to say." My ears rang. My thoughts screamed, but my mouth stayed calm. I walked out. The hallway felt endless. My legs moved without permission. Outside, I sat on the steps and stared at nothing. "This isn't real," I whispered. "Wake up." My phone buzzed. Jason Miller's name flashed. I answered without thinking. "Hey," Jason said. "You okay?" I said, "Can you come get me?" He paused. "Where are you?" I told him. He replied, "Stay there. I'm coming." Jason arrived and asked, "What happened?" I opened my mouth and closed it. "I can't talk," I said. He nodded. "Get in." The car was quiet. My head leaned against the window. Every street felt unfamiliar. At my place, Jason said, "Do you want me to stay?" I shook my head. "Thanks for the ride." He looked at me carefully. "Call me if you need anything." I replied, "I won't." He left without pushing. Inside, I dropped the food on the table. The smell made me sick. I sat on the floor and stared at the wall. "Breathe," I told myself. My chest hurt, but no tears came. I checked my phone. Messages from Emily filled the screen. I turned it face down. I remembered her saying, "We are forever." I remembered Mark saying, "I've got your back." I laughed softly. "Liars," I whispered. My hands stopped shaking. That scared me more than the shaking. I stood up and looked at the ring on my finger. "What were you for?" I asked it. The metal felt heavy. I pulled it off and held it tight. My heart felt hollow, like something had been stolen while I watched. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't punch walls or beg for answers. I just felt empty. The man who believed in loyalty died quietly that night, without ceremony or goodbye. Before bed, I asked myself one question. Does betrayal hurt more because I loved her, I whispered, or because I trusted them both? I didn't know the answer. I only knew nothing would ever feel the same again. I stopped answering my phone. Emily's name filled the screen again and again. "Please talk to me," her message said. I made a mistake. I locked the phone and said out loud, "You made a choice." The room felt smaller every hour, like the walls were leaning in to listen. At night, I replayed everything. "We are forever," she had said. "I've got your back," Mark had promised. I whispered, "Was any of it real?" The silence answered me better than people ever did. My doorbell rang on the third day. I didn't move. It rang again. "Open the door," a familiar voice said. "I know you're inside." I sighed and unlocked it. My sister Anna Thompson stepped in and crossed her arms. "You look like hell," she said. "I'm fine," I replied. She laughed sharply. "No, you're hiding." I said, "I don't want to talk." She pointed at me. Too bad. Start talking. I turned away. They betrayed me. My voice cracked despite my effort. Anna sat across from me and said, "Say it properly." I swallowed. Emily cheated on me. With Mark. Anna's eyes widened. Your friend Mark. I nodded. She whispered, "That's disgusting." I said, "I should have seen it." She leaned forward. "Don't do that." I asked, "Do what?" She answered, "Blame yourself." I snapped, "Then who should I blame?" She replied, "The people who lied to you." I shook my head. I wasn't enough. Anna slammed her hand on the table. Enough for who? I whispered, "For her." She softened. You loved her. I laughed bitterly. I trusted her. I looked down. Trust feels stupid now. Emily called again. Anna glanced at the phone. Answer it, she said. I shook my head. I can't hear her voice. Anna asked, What about Mark? I scoffed. He hasn't said a word. That hurt more than anything else. I expected excuses from her, I said. I expected lies. I looked up at Anna, but he didn't even try. Anna replied, Silence is an answer. I nodded slowly. It says I meant nothing. At night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. What did I miss? I asked myself, was I boring? Too safe? I remembered Emily once saying, You're predictable. I whispered, I thought predictable meant loyal. Anna stayed the night. At 3 a.m., she heard me pacing. You okay? She asked. I said, No, she replied. Good. Don't pretend. I sat on the floor and said, I feel embarrassed. She frowned. Why? Because everyone knew I loved her, I said. Now everyone knows I was fooled. Anna shook her head. You weren't fooled. You were honest. I replied, Honesty looks weak right now. The next morning, I took the ring off. I stared at it and said, You don't get to sit on my hand anymore. Anna watched quietly. That's progress, she said. I shrugged. It's just metal. But my chest burned. Emily left voicemails. I miss you, she said. Please forgive me. I deleted them without listening twice. I said out loud, Missing me didn't stop you. The words tasted like ash. Days blended together. I barely ate. I barely slept. When I closed my eyes, I saw them standing together. I opened my eyes fast and said, Get out of my head. They never listened. One night, I broke down without warning. No tears, just shaking. I pressed my hand to my mouth and whispered, Don't make a sound. Betrayal didn't scream. It sat on my chest and waited. I finally understood something painful. Love didn't just leave me. It stripped me, exposed me, and laughed while doing it. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was humiliated, and that truth hurt more than losing her ever could. I saw her at the cafe first. Emily sat in the corner, hands wrapped around a coffee cup, tears streaking her cheeks. I stopped in the doorway. Emily, I said quietly. She looked up, startled. I didn't expect you, she whispered. I came to talk, I said. My voice sounded steady even though my chest was tight. She shook her head. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't mean for it to happen. It just happened. I paused, studying her face. You keep saying that, I said, like it makes it okay. She flinched. I know it doesn't. I held up a hand. Don't. She leaned forward, pleading. Please, just hear me out. I never stopped caring about you. I laughed quietly, bitter. Caring isn't enough when trust is gone. She flinched again. Mark, I cut her off. Where is he? She looked down. He couldn't come. I stared at her. My hands trembled, but I forced them still. So it's just me here, listening to excuses. She looked at me, tearful. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know. I exhaled slowly. The rage that should have consumed me wasn't there. I felt something else, a strange calm. I won't fight you, I said. I won't scream. I won't make a scene. She blinked. What does that mean? I shrugged. It means I'm done being your audience. Her lip trembled. Are you walking away? I nodded. Yes. Calmly. Without hate. She shook her head. I don't understand. I said softly, you don't need to. This is my choice. I left the cafe and called Daniel Brooks on the way to the office. Daniel, I said, once he picked up. Can we talk? He chuckled. Of course, son. Long day. I exhaled. The longest. I need advice. I need perspective. When I met him, he studied me for a moment. I see pain, he said quietly. I see betrayal. What do you want? I replied, I want to stay in control of myself, not them. He nodded. Ah, you want dignity, patience, silence over chaos. Yes, I said. I could ruin them. I could expose them, yell, scream. I could lose myself. He smiled faintly. And that would help who? Yourself. I shook my head. No. I need to rebuild, not retaliate. Daniel leaned back. Then you're doing the right thing. Power isn't loud. It's quiet. It's patience. It's living better than those who wronged you. I nodded, feeling some weight lift. I want that. Afterward, I walk home without looking back. The streets were empty, but I felt lighter. I realized the choice to stay silent was not weakness. It was strength. Emily had chosen chaos. I chose clarity. I stopped at the bridge overlooking the river. I could hate you, I whispered. I could ruin your life. But I won't. I looked at the water and felt a shift inside. I'm taking control of me again. That night, Emily sent a text. Please, can we talk tomorrow? I stared at it. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then I deleted it. I whispered, no, not anymore. The quiet felt like victory. Not over her, not over Mark, but over the part of me that let others dictate my pace. For the first time, I felt control returning. The kind that didn't come from anger or revenge, but from calm, deliberate choice. Walking inside my apartment, I repeated it to myself. I choose me. I choose silence. I choose strength. And for the first time since everything broke, I believed it. Time passed. I buried myself in work. Email first thing, then meetings, I muttered to myself every morning. Emily and Mark faded from my mind, replaced by deadlines and spreadsheets. I started running again. 5 miles before breakfast, I said, tying my shoes tighter than usual. My legs burned, but it felt good. It was my pace, my control. Laura Bennett called one afternoon. I've reviewed your proposal, she said. Impressive work. I smiled, trying not to sound too eager. Thank you. I've been focused. She replied, it shows. Discipline like yours is rare. Her voice carried genuine respect. I appreciate that, I said. It motivates me. Through mutual friends, I heard small things about Emily and Mark. They're fighting again, a friend said casually. I asked, what happened? She shrugged. Nothing big, just everything. Mark lost his job, Emily stressed. They argue in public sometimes. I leaned back, sipping water. I see, I said. I see karma move slowly. Emily's name came up again. She's isolated now, my friend said. Doesn't see many people. I nodded, silently noting it. Sometimes it takes time, I murmured. Time and choices. Mark tried to call me once. I ignored it. Why answer? I whispered. Nothing to gain. His silence was louder than any apology could have been. Laura came by the office a week later. You're handling the project well, she said. I looked at her. Trying to, I replied. She smiled. More than trying. You're consistent, focused. That counts for a lot. Her words lingered longer than I expected. Consistency beats chaos, I muttered. She laughed softly. Exactly. News about Emily and Mark trickled in steadily. They fought at the party last night, Jason said. I exhaled. Publicly. I asked. He nodded. It was messy. I sipped coffee. Let them have it, I said quietly. I won't chase it. I don't need to. At night, I jogged through empty streets. Every step forward is mine, I said aloud. I didn't hate them, not really. I felt pain, yes, but it no longer held me hostage. Pain is a reminder, I whispered, not a prison. One evening, Laura stopped by again. Dinner after work, she asked. I hesitated. I'm not ready for anything personal yet. She nodded. That's fine. But you're growing, you know. Stronger than before. I smiled faintly. I'm learning to be myself again. I overheard a conversation at a mutual friend's gathering. Emily shouted, Why do you keep blaming me? Mark replied, I don't blame you. You just always make it about you. I shook my head silently. That used to be me, crying, blaming, overthinking. Now, I watched quietly. Karma doesn't rush, I whispered. It waits, it balances. Back in my apartment, I reviewed my day's work. Emails sent, reports finalized, calls returned. I muttered, focus, control, me. Every small victory mattered. The chaos they created no longer invaded my space. The betrayal was theirs to carry. I ran my fingers over the empty spot where my engagement ring used to sit. I survived, I said. I am stronger. I remembered Emily's face, her tears, her excuses. Nothing brought me to rage anymore. I understood power wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was patience. It was living better. Late that night, I checked the newsfeed. Stories of Mark losing his position circulated. Emily's social posts showed frustration, isolation. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. It's natural, I whispered. Consequences unfold quietly. I stretched on the floor, exhausted but calm. I still hurt, I admitted to myself. But pain doesn't own me. I closed my eyes and thought, this is progress. This is strength. I let silence fill the space where anger used to dwell. I whispered one last time before sleep. I am in control. I will not let them dictate my life. The weight lifted slightly. Karma moved, yes, but I moved too, forward, steady, and finally free. The knock at my door startled me. I wasn't expecting anyone, not Emily, not Mark, not anyone from that world. I opened it cautiously. She stood there, eyes red, hair messy, shoulders slumped. Emily. I said, surprised. She looked at me, trembling. Can I come in? Her voice was small, fragile. I stepped aside silently. She walked in, her gaze scanning the apartment like she was seeing it for the first time. She began, then stopped. She wiped her eyes. I didn't mean to come here unannounced. I leaned against the wall. You came anyway. She nodded. I had to. I need to tell you something. I gestured toward the couch. Sit. She lowered herself carefully. Mark, he cheated on me, she admitted, voice breaking. It wasn't just me betraying you. He betrayed me too. I stared at her, feeling the weight of her words. No shock. No joy. Just distance. I see, I said quietly. I'm sorry you got hurt. She flinched. You should be angry, she whispered. I shook my head. I was angry before. Now, I just feel calm. Detached. She swallowed hard. I know I ruined things. I know I can't take it back. But I had to tell you, for my own peace. I nodded slowly. I understand. She looked up at me with pleading eyes. Do you forgive me? I shook my head. Forgiveness isn't for you. I don't forgive. I just move forward. She exhaled sharply, and the tears fell again. I should have never let it happen, she whispered. I said nothing, letting her words hang. Silence carried more weight than any argument or lecture could. Later that day, my phone buzzed. Mark's name flashed. I hesitated, then answered. What do you want? I said. His voice was tight. I made a mistake. Can we talk? I exhaled. Talk. About what, Mark? About how you destroyed something pure. He stammered. I regret it. I didn't mean to. I cut him off. You didn't just betray me. You betrayed trust. You betrayed love. You destroyed a bond we believed in. I know, he said, voice low. I'm sorry. I want a chance to explain. I laughed bitterly. Explain. There's nothing left to explain. You're the reason everything collapsed. Do you understand that? Yes, he whispered. I do. Please, I don't know what to say. I paused, letting the silence grow. Say nothing. Just learn. Learn what you broke, and live with it. That's the consequence you earned. Later, Michael Reed called. I heard about Emily and Mark, he said. They are struggling. Their friends don't trust them. Work is chaos for Mark. Emily's isolated. It's messy. I nodded, a quiet sense of validation settling over me. I've seen it, I replied. It's not for me to celebrate. It's just natural. Michael chuckled softly. You're calm through all of it. It's impressive. I shrugged. I had time to rebuild myself. Anger isn't necessary anymore. Pain doesn't dictate my actions. I thought back to Emily sitting in my apartment, eyes red and pleading. I could rage, I whispered to Michael. I could scream, accuse, expose. But what would it accomplish? Nothing. They live with their own mistakes now. Later, I spoke to Emily again, through messages. I hope you both understand the weight of what you did, I typed. I hope you reflect, grow, and never hurt someone else like that. That's the only lesson you need to learn from me. She responded quickly, I'm sorry. I truly am. I didn't reply. No need. Silence said more than words. I didn't forgive. I didn't beg. I didn't explode. I stood steady, while they crumbled quietly around themselves. Mark sent another message. Can we meet? I typed back. No. You've already had your chance. I am done. The power shift was clear now. I wasn't desperate for closure, because I already owned it. They were the ones left scrambling, trying to fix a life they had broken. I watched, calm and collected. No joy in their pain, only clarity in my own strength. Emily texted one last time. I hope someday you can see me without hate. I typed back slowly. I see you. But it's not hate. It's distance. And peace. I sat back and breathed. For the first time, I felt the shift fully. I wasn't reacting. I wasn't chasing. I wasn't trapped. The past had returned begging, and I met it with truth, not chaos. I whispered to myself, they lost their way. I found mine. And for the first time, I stood above the storm quietly, steady, unbroken, and free. I wake up earlier now. 6 a.m., I tell myself, tying my running shoes. Laura's text waits. Coffee later. I reply, sure. See you at 9. It's casual, unforced. Not a replacement. Just connection. A contrast. At work, I sit at my desk and breathe. Focus. I murmur. Reports pile up, deadlines approach, but I feel capable. I'm back, I whisper to myself. I no longer crave validation from Emily. I no longer wait for closure. I've built it on my own. Laura knocks lightly. Morning, she says. I smile. Morning. Ready for the coffee run. She laughs. Always. We leave together. The city hums around us. I realize I notice things I didn't before, the small kindnesses, the quiet moments. I say, I appreciate that you notice details. She shrugs, smiling. You deserve it. You notice too. I think of Emily. My chest tightens for a second, then relaxes. That's past me, I say aloud. The one who begged for answers, who crumbled at betrayal, he's gone. I glance at my reflection in a shop window. This is me now. Confident. Steady. In control. During lunch, I talk to Daniel Brooks. I feel stronger, I say. He nods. You are. Strength isn't just surviving, it's knowing your value. I chuckle softly. I wasted so much energy worrying about their mistakes. He smiles. Now you're using it for you. At the office, my colleagues notice. Jason Miller says, "You're different. Calmer. More focused." I shrug. Feels like I'm finally in my own skin. He grins. About time. I smile faintly. Better late than never. Laura joins me at the cafe after work. "You've changed," she says. "You're lighter." I nod. I stopped defining myself as the one who was left. I realized my flaws. Blind trust. Emotional dependence. I own them now, and I'm fixing them. She sips her coffee. I can tell. You carry yourself differently. I think back to the nights I cried alone, replaying Emily's face. Those nights, they refined me, I whisper. Not broke me. Laura notices my tone. You learned from pain, she says. Exactly, I reply. Pain isn't my jailer anymore. It's a teacher. We talk about small things, books, running routes, work challenges. I notice my laughter comes easier. I never realized I missed this, I admit. Being light, unburdened. Laura smiles. You deserve it. I nod, quietly grateful. Later, I walk home, hands in pockets. I own my mornings, my nights, my choices, I say. I glance at my reflection in a store window. No ring. No chains. Just me. I've rebuilt myself, I whisper. The thought fills me with calm satisfaction. At home, I review my career goals. Promotion by next quarter, I say to myself. I smile. I have the focus now. The discipline. The self-respect. Every step forward reinforces that betrayal didn't define me. It prepared me. I call Anna. I've changed, I tell her. She laughs softly. I can hear it. I say, I don't need anyone to tell me. I know it myself. She agrees. Good. Own it. I repeat it aloud, like a mantra. I own it. I own myself. I glance at my phone. Messages from Emily and Mark remain unread. I don't open them. I don't need to. Closure is mine, I whisper. I don't need theirs. That night, I run through the quiet streets, faster than before. This body, this mind, they're mine, I say aloud. I've reclaimed everything I lost. I breathe deeply. The city is calm. My heart is calm. The man who was left behind no longer exists. Before sleep, I tell myself, betrayal didn't break me. It refined me. I am stronger. I am whole. I am me. And for the first time in a long time, I believe it completely. I agreed to meet Emily at the small park near the river. She arrived first, sitting on the bench, hands folded tightly in her lap. When I approached, she looked up, eyes wide, searching for something I wasn't sure she'd find. Hi, she whispered. Hi, I said, keeping my tone steady. I sat across from her, leaving enough space between us to feel safe. She swallowed and said, I need to tell you something. I nodded. Go ahead. She drew a shaky breath. Losing you, it's the biggest regret of my life. Her voice cracked. I can't stop thinking about it. About what I threw away. I kept my face neutral. You've said it. I know, she replied. But I meant it. I never realized how much I had until it was gone. She paused. Can you ever forgive me? I looked at her directly. Forgive you? Yes. Love you again? No. She flinched but nodded slowly. I understand. I don't want to force you. I needed you to know. You should have understood sooner, I said quietly. I gave you everything. I trusted you completely. And you broke that. She lowered her head. I know. And I'm sorry. Truly. I can't change what I did. I hope you heal, I said softly. That's all I can wish for you. She looked up at me, surprise in her eyes. Even after everything. I nodded. Even after everything. I can't walk backward. I can't be the man I was when you had me. That version is gone. Tears welled in her eyes. I wish I could tell you how much I lost, she whispered. You already know, I replied. Actions speak louder than words. You made your choices. I'm making mine. She trembled. I keep hoping, maybe someday. I shook my head gently. No. There is no someday for us. That chapter is closed. Not because I hate you, but because I respect myself. She remained silent, letting my words sink in. The wind rustled the trees, and for the first time, I felt the quiet between us wasn't empty. It was clean, final, and necessary. I won't lie, I continued. It hurts. You hurt me. But holding on to that hurt would only trap me in your mistakes. I'm choosing freedom. Emily sniffled. I don't know if I deserve your words, she said. You don't, I said simply. But you needed them. Closure isn't always about fairness. Sometimes it's about truth. She looked at me then, really looked, as if searching for the man she once knew. I held her gaze without flinching. I'm no longer the one who waits. I'm no longer the one who begs. I'm the one who stands. She nodded slowly. I see that. I'm proud of you. I let her words pass over me without emotion. Thank you, I said. But I didn't do this for you. I did it for me. There was a pause. The river moved quietly beside us. The sun was dipping low, casting soft orange light across her face. I realized I felt nothing but calm. No anger. No longing. Just truth. I need to go, I said after a moment. She nodded, tears slipping freely now. I understand, she whispered. I stood, brushing off my pants. Take care of yourself, Emily. Heal. Learn. Move forward. But don't expect me in that path. I won't, she said. I'm sorry for everything. I looked at her one last time. I hope someday you learn the weight of your choices. And I hope you become a better person because of them, not in spite of them. She smiled faintly, bitter and sweet at the same time. I'll try. I walked away slowly, each step deliberate. My chest felt lighter, my head clearer. The weight of betrayal, anger, and heartbreak that had followed me for months lifted in quiet, steady waves. I wasn't running from the past, I was leaving it behind. I paused at the bridge and looked down at the water. Freedom isn't loud, I whispered. It's quiet. It's calm. It's knowing I won't let someone else define my life again. The sun touched the horizon, and for the first time in months, I felt clean. Whole. Free. I breathed in deeply and whispered again, this is my life. My peace. My choice. And I finally believed it. I held the ring in my hand one last time. You're just metal now, I said softly. No anger. No bitterness. Just understanding. I placed it in the small box it came in and closed it slowly, like I was closing a chapter in my life. Anna peeked into the room. Are you okay? She asked. I nodded. I am. I'm letting it go. She smiled faintly. It's about time. I sat on the edge of the bed, thinking about everything. Emily's tears, Mark's silence, the nights I cried alone. I trusted, I whispered. I gave my heart. But I also learned. Not a mistake, I said, shaking my head. Lesson. Laura called. Dinner tonight, she asked. I smiled. Yeah. I'll meet you at 7. She hesitated. Are you sure? I laughed softly. Yes. I'm ready to move forward, not run backward. At work, Jason Miller noticed the change. You're different, he said. Calmer. Focused. I replied, I've learned to carry myself without carrying anger. He nodded. That's real strength. I thought about Emily one last time. I hope she heals, I murmured. I hope he learns. But I didn't dwell. My path no longer included them. My steps were mine. I whispered, I walk forward, not back. Anna came by again. You're smiling, she said. I shrugged. I feel lighter. I feel whole. She nodded. Good. You deserve that. I looked out the window at the city lights. I'll take dignity over revenge. Peace over chaos. I thought about all the times I had questioned myself. Why wasn't I enough? I whispered. Now, I knew. I was enough. It wasn't about me failing. It was about them choosing poorly. That understanding brought calm. Laura texted me a picture of our dinner table set. "See you soon," it said. I typed back, "Can't wait." A small smile crept across my face. Not excitement over another person, but joy in being fully present. I walked through my apartment, straightening small things, feeling the rhythm of my own life. "This is mine," I said aloud. "Every choice, every step, every breath." I didn't need approval. I didn't need revenge. I only needed myself. I paused by the mirror. The man staring back at me wasn't the one who was left behind. He wasn't broken. He wasn't desperate. He was steady, patient, and strong. I whispered, "You've grown. You've survived. You've learned." Before bed, I placed the ring box in the drawer. Not out of anger, but acceptance. "I gave my heart," I said softly, "and I learned. That's enough." I climbed into bed and felt the quiet settle around me. Peace wasn't loud. It didn't roar. It was a soft weight, grounding me, reminding me of all I had reclaimed. "I am mine," I whispered, closing my eyes. The future stretched ahead, uncertain, yes, but shaped by self-worth, not betrayal. I took a deep breath. I'm walking forward. No looking back. No regrets. Only lessons, strength, and calm. And for the first time in a long time, I believed it completely.